Hello, YouTube. Hey, welcome back to the lab. I got a couple of questions asking me, how I made the faceplate for the high voltage power supply. They wanted to know how I did the artwork, how I created the artwork for it, and then, how I got that on the laser to do what I did with etching. If you haven't seen that, go back and check out the video of the finished product on the high voltage power supply that I just did, and you can see it turned out really well. So anyway, I was asked about that, and I promised that I would do a video showing how to do the artwork and the whole process step by step. I also got asked about doing circuit boards too, and I'm going to do a follow-up video with this one that's going to step by step just like this, but we're going to do the circuit board the same way I did on the high voltage power supply, where I used the laser to do the circuit board. I'm going to show how I do that, how I do the artwork, and the whole process step by step. So we're going to start out with the first step, and that is, this is a piece of scrap aluminum off of what I cut off to make the front panel. And all I've done is cleaned it up, just hit it with a little bit of like 400 grit sandpaper, just very lightly to put very microscopic scratches so the paint would have something to hold on to. Cleaned it real good, put a coat of, good coat of, in this case, I used bright white instead of the antique white I did on the power supply. And this is not the paint. This is black, flat black. This is flat white. But the point being, the paint is not critical. You just want some spray enamel like you'd buy at the big box stores or Walmart or whatever. Nothing special about what you use. Just spray enamel. Put it on, let it dry well. You might want to give it at least 12, 24 hours. You want it fully dry. And then from this point, we're going to go over to the computer, and I'm going to do a little bit of graphic artwork to put on here, as if this was a little mini control panel on the front of something or whatever. We'll just walk through the process of what I do and how I do it. And I'll show you how I end up getting that into the laser. We'll show you how I set it up on the laser, how I get it in the laser, and how we burn this and how it comes out. So let me jump over to the computer, and I'll see you over there. Okay, so here we are. I'm in Corel Paint Shop Pro. You could use Photoshop. You could use pretty well any photo editing software. So I'm going to create a new file. The first thing I want to do is make sure my resolution is about 600. I want something with a decent resolution. And then I need to make it the size of the piece of metal or the faceplate or whatever you're working on that you're going to be, that the graphics is going to go on. You need it. You don't want it the size of the graphics inside. You want it the size of the metal plate you're going to do this work on, because you need this picture to fit all the way to the edge so you can line it up to the actual piece of metal. So I've measured our piece of metal, and I'm going to go in here and say the width of it is 6 3/4, so 6.75, and the height is 2 1/4, so 2.25. And we're going to say okay, and it's going to give us a box, and that's going to be our front faceplate. This is our front faceplate piece of metal, and we're going to put our artwork on now. Now, so that I'm clear about this, the size of this picture should be the size of the finished cut piece of metal, where you need to cut this metal if you haven't cut it yet to fit. And so we can line this artwork up by putting the corners in the proper places on the metal and know everything's right where we want them. So the first thing that I need to do is I need to go in here and make sure that I'm white, which I am, and I'm just going to do a dump and fill this white. So that's our white piece of metal. And then we're going to go black, and everything that we want, text-wise, markings, whatever, we want them black. That's where the laser is going to cut. So it'll cut through the white into the metal, make the metal black. So let's say that we want to, for example, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to, see if I can do it, open, and let's see what I can find here. Trying to remember where, go to my artwork. And LEL artwork. And let's open this file. And I want to resize this. I want it to fit on that plate. So we're going to go and make this inches. And we want to make it about, I'm going to say about 5. So then I'm going to do select all, edit, copy, because I'm going to go to our faceplate and I'm going to edit, paste as a new selection. So I'm going to put artwork in here. So let's say I want my logo right in the, say in the middle, roughly right about here. Okay, so there you go. I've got that done. So now I can do select none. And let's say that we've got a volume pot that needs to be on this panel. Well, we measure our shaft coming through so we know how big it is, and we figure out the knob going on so that we know how big around the knob is, so we know where to put the text. And the first thing we need to do is mark exactly where we want to drill that shaft. And how I usually do that is I just take and do the pen. I just go up here and do a line. Usually I make it fairly thick. Let's see what this looks like. Okay. Now you say, okay, well, maybe that's not exactly where I need this. That's okay. I just want to get that on there at the moment. And once I've done that, I'm going to merge these layers together, flatten the whole picture out. I'm going to take the paintbrush, go back to white. And what I'm going to do is, don't need it that big. I'm going to turn this into a fairly small little cross. Okay, and that's going to be where we go ahead and pin punch and then drill for our volume knob. Now, remember I said that I don't know that's where it's going to be. That's okay, because what I can do is I can figure out exactly where I want that, and I can go in and do a selection, cut that out, paste as a new selection. I can move around. I can decide I want my volume knob. Say I want my volume knob right here. Okay, no problem. Go back to my paintbrush, go back to white, unselect, select none. Because that was selected here, I couldn't paint up here. So let's say I did that. That's our volume. Maybe we want our tune over here, okay? And then I can come over here and say, we can figure out where we want the tuning knob. Maybe we want the tuning knob right here, okay? Select none. Now we want some text on here. So let's go to our text tool, go up here and decide what font, how big do we need it? You know, got to make sure we're in black. And let's try this. Does this look okay? Yeah, that'd be all right. Again, don't worry about where it's at, because if you come up and hit this tool, I can move it around. So let's say we put the word vol down here, and we go back to our merge everything. You have to merge the layers back together to get things to. Let's say we want to call this tune. This is just a simple little, go at it here, but you get the idea. And if you're using different software, it's going to be different buttons and such, but it's still the same. So this is all we're really doing. We're just creating artwork that is where we need it to be. I know I'm going to drill here and put a knob. I have to make sure I know how big this knob is going to be to make sure I'm placing here. So what I normally do is basically what I'll do is take and put a circle the right size on here to let me see the knob, and then decide move this around till I'm happy. And so once you're done with all the artwork, and we can put whatever we need in here, but this is just a little demo, so we're not going to go too crazy. But once we're done with that, we want to go to image resize and make sure it's the right sizes. It says the original, meaning this current one, is 6 3/4 by 2 1/4 by 600 resolution. This is all we need. I can throw this on a USB key, which I'm going to do. I'm going to save this file as and I'm going to use PNG. Typically, that's what I save it as. So let me plug a USB key in, and we'll go down to the USB drive, and I'm just going to save as PNG. We're going to call this test panel. We're going to save it on the USB drive. We'll just put it down here at the bottom. So save. Okay, it's saved it into the USB now. I'm going to close this. We're ready to take that USB, and we're ready to go to the laser, and we're ready to set this thing up and do it. So, okay, so here we are in the craft room. I went ahead and put the metal plate in the laser, and you can see that I've got the longer laser head in, which is the infrared for metal. And so we're going to leave this up because my camera is up here and allows me to take imagery and line things up and get everything framed and stuff. So we're going to jump over the computer now and get this ready to run. Okay, so first thing we're going to do is open up Lightburn, our software that runs our laser. And I'm going to go over to the camera settings. I'm going to go ahead and take a picture so I can see the metal in here. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go File. I'm going to import. I'm going to go to the USB drive. I'm going to find that file. Let's try it now. Let's just do date modified here. We should be able to test panel. Here we go. Here's our picture. And we're going to take that picture. We're going to line it up on our metal. And it won't be precise because the camera isn't perfect. That's going to get me lined up pretty good. And once we've got that now, the black is where we're going to cut. I'm hoping it'll ignore this. I'm not sure. We can actually test here in a second. So once I've got my artwork on here, what I need to do is I need to go to my cuts, and I need to set these to what I want them to be. This is how fast and how powerful the laser is and what it does. And you know, we're in mode image, which is correct. Well, I'll link it here. We're in mode. The mode type needs to be image because we're going to handle this as an image. And I'm going to set my speed to 300 millimeters a minute. And we're going to use 100 power. We want constant power mode. And I'm going to go down here and I want 600 DPI. And this is telling the laser how I want it to handle this. And what it's telling it is overscan 0.5%, meaning to make sure that we don't have any gaps between the passes of the laser. We want it to basically like when you're painting and you overlap your last stroke just a little bit to make sure there's no gaps. That's what this is doing, okay, by 0.03 millimeters. And then the 600 DPI sets up how much the laser moves up or down to make the next pass. And basically, it's just like a laser printer. It's how many dots there should be per inch. The rest of this looks good. We're going to do one cut. So I say okay. And everything in here is going to be handled at that. Now, I could do different. I could choose this, create another layer, and have it handle it at different speeds. And we don't want that on this work. We can go up now and do the preview, see what it's going to look like. And it looks like it's ignoring those little grayish areas. So what we can do is we can go back and watch what it's going to do. And here's what the laser is going to do. It's going to go back and forth like this and draw all of this just like this for me. Okay. And it'll play it for you if you want. This is 40 times real speed, so you can see it's going to be pretty slow to do this. In fact, it'll tell me here it's going to take 1 hour, 28 minutes, and 45 seconds. So it's kind of slow. So the speed has to be real slow because your laser is not that powerful. If this was wood, this would be done in a minute and a half. But metal let that laser work harder to cut metal, obviously. So now that we've done that, the big trick now is we've got to frame this thing. So when I hit this, what happens You home the laser and you hit this, and it runs the laser over and draws with a little location dot to show you where it's going to draw this. And so what I have to do now is play to make sure that I'm on the metal where I want to be. I'll get a video. Give me just a second. I'll get the pocket handheld camera going here. We'll see here. So let me go ahead and hit frame. That's pretty good right there. Okay. So at this point, what we need to do is close her up so that we don't breathe those fumes. The noise you're hearing, a lot of it is the fan. There's a fan that sucks air in the box and out, exhausts it outside for the fumes. So now it's just a matter of we've got it framed. We're happy where it's framed. It's just time to hit start. So here we go. We're going to hit start, and it's going to begin its job, and it's not going to be fast. We'll let it run a little bit. I'll come back and get some video where once it gets enough on there that we can actually see what it's doing. So, okay, here we are about 30 minutes later, and you can see it's working on the artwork, and it's doing its thing. So we'll let it finish, pull it out, and let you see it when it's done. And then we got one more thing we're going to do. We're going to clear coat this and let you see how a little bit of gloss clear coat really makes everything pop. Really, really brings it out. So, okay, we're done. You can see it's not moving. It's finished up. I'm going to reach over and try to hold the camera steady. I'm going to hit the home button and send the laser out of the way. And it's been done long enough to suck all the vapors out. So let's open her up, see what we see. So there's what the finish looks. Now let me get over the bench. We'll take a look at it on the bench real quick, and then I'm going to put a clear coat on it, and we'll check it out, and then that'll be it. So see you back at the bench. Okay, we're on the bench, and here we go. We've got our little jewel here, and one of the questions you might have for me is, RJ, why don't you just put gloss paint on to start with? That's a good question, and I've got a very good answer for that. If you put gloss paint on and then etch, there's no gloss over what you've etched. And if you've ever tried to gloss over gloss paint, it can cause some interesting effects and stuff. So I find it better to use flat paints for stuff like this and then gloss over the whole thing at the end. And you can see that it looks very good. I'm going to bring it up to the camera, maybe where you get a little more how clear and crisp the text and everything is. But of course, doing this with the laser doesn't make a black mark. It's a little bit of a lighter, it's black. It's not really gray, but to my color vision, but it's not a bold black. So what I want to do here is I want to show you, and I don't normally paint in the lab, but I'm going to make an exception here. I'm going to, with my exhaust fan, it's got charcoal and HEPA filters and stuff to filter the stuff out. I'm going to put a coat on here right in front of you and let you watch, if I can get it to do it, how much this pops when it works. So let's get the fan going. Let's take a look at comparison. So here we go. I think you can probably already see the big difference. Sorry about the fan, but I want to suck them fumes as the VOCs are coming off that paint. I want them going in that fan into that charcoal filter and being taken out of the lab. But yeah, it really makes it pop and come out. I didn't do that on the high voltage power supply simply because the rest of the paint is more of a flat paint, and it had kind of an antique look to it, and I wanted to keep that. So because of that, I didn't do this. You can see how much the black lettering would have popped out on that power supply had I done it. And I'm going to hit it with just a little more. Another coat. Always want to try to do 2 coats when you can. Now, I can tell already I probably shouldn't do it because the paint's peeling over here. I don't know if you can see that. And I know why I know exactly why it's peeling. I'm going to tell you why it's peeling. The reason the paint is peeling is because to get this video done, when I had the time to do it and need to do it, I didn't have time to let the paint dry all the way. I gave it a 4 or 5 hours. But as I said in the beginning, you really want to get the paint on there and you want a good 24 hours, because if you don't let the base paint dry really well, if you clear coat over it, it'll crinkle the paint. And that's what's happening over here on the edge. What happens is imperfections allow the gloss to seep up under the base coat, and then because it's wet with solvents and solvents we're trying to get out, it'll cause this crinkle effect, and that's exactly what's happened, which is no big deal. I'm not going to do anything with it anyway. It was just to demo, but I think you can see how much darker, how much it pops it out. Now, if I get another coat on, the paint's going to crinkle even worse, but let me just get a little more here to show you that with a couple coats of gloss, if you've allowed your paint to dry thoroughly, the black will really pop out. One more quick little coat there. Not using good painting technique. Need to get my exhaust fan going. We're going to crinkle all the paint now, but see, as you build up those clear layers to get a higher gloss down in the engraving, it really brings out the text. So that's it. That's all this video is for, is just to get you through the technique. Like I said, had a couple people ask. This is how I do it. I don't normally do it before the paint's dry, but for you guys, I didn't want to hold this up. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed this. I hope that it was educational. I hope it was informative. Hope it helped you out in some way. If it did, do me a favor, click like, hit the little notify bell so you know when I put new videos out. Besides, that lets the algorithm know you're interested, and it helps me get pushed out. And if you haven't subscribed, do me a favor, take just a moment, smash that subscribe button. It means that it'll just pop up. All it's going to do is pop up my videos when they come out, so you can see I've got a new video out. But man, it helps me. Those comments, those likes, those notified buttons, and the subscriptions are what controls our videos, whether they get put out or they don't. And if they don't get put out, people don't see them. So help me out. I'm a little channel, need all the help I can get. Hey, thanks for being a viewer. Thanks for hanging out with me. But most of all, I hope to see you in the next video.